This is King Noble, Black Supremacy. And with this particular video, I want to talk about how anarchy can aid black people in their struggle for freedom and liberation. Why do I say that? We always talk about black unity, but yet we see a lot of division in the conscious community. Division based on ideologies, beliefs, tactics, methodology, culture, customs, principles, whatever. But there's still a central theme running through the entire black conscious community, the pro-black community, black nationalist community, Pan-African community, whatever you want to call it. There's still a central theme running through them. But they can't seem to come together. And it's the reason is that they feel that it's necessary that they form a central government. And each organization feels like it is the central government or has the power to become a central government. And they're jousting over power, but they supposedly have the desire for the same agenda, which is black liberation, black freedom, ultimately ending white supremacy. And there's a lot of semantics that go into that, but trust me, if you really delve into them, they're all pretty much saying the same thing. They want the same thing. So how would anarchy be effective? Well, when you give up the idea of a central government, this type of tyranny or tyrannical unity that different organizations and groups try to impose based upon their personal philosophy and ideology based upon their group will no longer seek to impose that on the entirety of the black community or black nation or the conscious community. They'll make that their own personal ideology and their own personal position, but they'll be focused on what the overall agenda is, which is freedom and liberation for black people and ending white supremacy. Now, once the anarchy is embraced, because that's kind of what it kind of is already, but it's just it's unembraced anarchy, then we're not arguing anymore about people's religion and philosophies. We're not fighting over a central government, who's the president of the conscious community, who's the head of the conscious community, who's the head of the RBG community, what's the ultimate philosophy that's going to free and liberate all black people, what's the true way of life, the true religion, the true diet, the true God, the true language. We no longer need to try to work to establish a centralized government around those ideas. And the independence that we want as a nation forces us to affirm the independence of each and every black man and woman, irregardless of their religion, their culture, their ideas, their sexual preferences, their language, their diet, that we now respect and we support each and every individual black person in their quest and in their desire for freedom and independence from white supremacy and the cultural paradigm of white imperialism. Now that's going to look like anarchy, because it's like everybody's doing what they want to do. There's no central government. There's no central core organization. That people have been trying to impose this for a long time. Your Nation of Islam, your Hebrew Israelites, your Muslims, they're all trying to push themselves as the forming of a central government to centralize resources, manpower, and to be the main front for black people. And they fight over this, and they argue with each other, and they debate over this. We don't need that. We don't need that anymore. That's the old school paradigm. That's the old school reality. That's what's kept us divided. That's what's kept us separated. That's what's kept us disunified. Now we need to say the hell with all that. And instead of being against one another for our ideas and views and methodologies and lifestyles and ways of life and religions and beliefs, we can affirm and support the freedom and independence of every black man. And by doing so, we also don't have to wait for no coons to wake up and find the right way. We no longer give them an excuse either to have to sift through, claiming they're trying to sift through the bullshit, or they waiting on black unity to get the white man's dick out of their mouth. We're not waiting on that no more. Those who are independent, seeking self-sustainability, separation, and freedom and liberation from the white man are just gonna have to stand up. And those who not, just gonna have to sit their ass down. Because some of these coons agree with the central government of white supremacy. They believe it protects them. They support the system because they believe it's the best thing going. And even though they claim they want freedom and black liberation, they fear what it would look like with no system. And they don't want to let go of the system. And they want to make sure that you can come up with some idea to replace their tyrant, to replace white imperialism, before they would get on the side of really overthrowing this shit and stepping into black liberation. So we not waiting on them no more. They going down with the system. They going down with the system because they're holding it up and they holding that shit together. They keeping it up. We don't gotta wait on them no more. And when this system go down, they going down with it. They not, you got nothing coming. If you holding on to that system and you don't want to be independent and you find reasons to keep being a slave under this white man and being tied to it under whatever excuse, ignorance, dependability, fear, whatever excuse you can come up with, you're going to have to go down with it. Because those who are affirming and supporting the freedom and the liberation and the independence of black people, we're not waiting on you no more. We're not waiting on y'all. We have to have our freedom now and our liberation now. We got to have it now. And the only people who are going to survive the anarchy or the insurrection are going to be those people who are independent, who love independence. Those are people that's only going to be able to hold their own. They say when the zombies come out and the system fails and everything collapses, you know, what are we going to do? It's going to be hell. It's going to be a serious problem. It's going to be a problem for you all who was addicted to the system, who did not want to let that shit go, who was dependent on it, who was fighting so that your master could keep providing and protecting for you and being present. You going down with it. And those who were standing and developing, building their independence and supporting black independence and freedom, no matter what their ideology, their religion, their sexual preferences, their philosophies, their beliefs, no matter what it was, as long as you stood up and supported and was proactive and moved towards black freedom, liberation, and independence, you're going to be all right in that time and in that moment. Now, black supremacy, we're always going to be a regime. And many of you are organizations, y'all gonna have your own regimes. Whether you the Hebrew Israelites, the Nation of Islam, the Muslims, the 5%ers, the Nuwabians, whoever you are, that's gonna be your regime. You're gonna have to carry your people, and you're gonna have to become a nation and a state within yourself. And when all this shit falls, those who was able to really fashion themselves towards independence, they will be okay. And we will be leading the masses and converting the masses. We will be the light in darkness. We will be the order out of chaos. Out of the chaos of anarchy. But it's going to take overall anarchy. Because otherwise it's not going to happen. We waiting on too many Negroes to wake up. We waiting on too many people to unify, and we waiting on the one ideology that's going to wake us all up. We waiting to form a central government that the white man can destroy, he can attack, he can target that. But if black people just start supporting the freedom and the independence and the liberation of other black people, of other black organizations, other black entities, of black humanity, we will make progress like you have never seen before. At that point, the debating is over with. The argument is over with. Solidify your own, solidify yourself. And we support you in your solidification. Let us not be against each other anymore under the auspices of coming up with a central ideology or central philosophy, or coming up with an absolute truth. Let your truths be relative, and let our objective and our be absolute. And if that absolute objective is black independence, black freedom, black liberation, black empowerment, and the end of white supremacy, I think we will achieve that. We will achieve that even in our independent manners, even through our independent methods. Anarchy can help us. It removes the argument of unity. It removes the debates. It removes the panel. It removes us trying to come together. It removes all of that and stand your ground as an independent black man for freedom and liberation for black people. You don't want to call yourself black. Call yourself an independent melanin man. Independent Moorish man. Independent Hebrew Israelite. It don't even matter. Stand your ground for the freedom and liberation of those that look like you, and the end of this system, the end of the white supremacy. And these coons gonna fall with the devil. I'll make that clear. Either you with it or forget it. That's what time we in right now. Coons want to keep the system going because they fear anarchy. But independent people know how to stand in anarchy. They know how to stand in the chaos. And they know how to form a new government, a new reality, a new culture, a new position of empowerment for black people. It's King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnobleuncensored.com. Donate and don't hate.